Here at Paddy Power, we're the home of the Money Back Special, with some incredible offers every single week. Check out the website or app today. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Friends, we have reached the end with our final Postcast preview of the glorious marathon that is the Punchestown Festival. And looking ahead to day 5 here is my esteemed Racing Post colleague David Jennings and my other esteemed Racing Post colleague Paul Keeley. And they've been having a great week so far. Speaking here on Friday afternoon, on Thursday, DJ, Snugsborough Hall, your bet of the festival dotted up.
It did, yeah. That's the 16th year in a row I've actually got my nap of the whole festival up, so it's great to keep the record going. And Snugsborough Hall was tremendously impressive, winning by 11 lengths, so can't do better than that. And Paul obviously on fire with Chacun Poursois as well.
Paul, you're on fire with Chacun Poursois.
Yeah, I was. 16 years in a row. Did you know anything about horses 16 years ago? It's a hell of a long while.
I was being sarcastic.
We also don't have the data to prove it either way, do we?
No.
So let's go with it. The final card then starts with the third Banks race of Punchestown 2019, the Dooley Insurance Group Cross Country Chase, in which Josie's Orders, who disappointed in the Latouche Cup on Thursday, partly because producer Sam probably can't swing the camera around, but they were just sort of towards the side of Ruby's double, where Josie's got things wrong. Stayed on though in the end to finish third. Will compensation come here?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think you'll see a different Josie's Orders this time. I didn't think anything went right from the other day. Very laboured performance though, and you just wonder, like, there's a lot of improvement to come if he's going to win this. The one I came down on was Hurricane Darwin for Alan Fleming and Donna Myler. Second back in February here to Josie's Orders, and was hampered on a couple of occasions that time, and just I thought was a little bit unlucky. Because it's not trained by Enda Bulger and it's not run the JP McManus Silks, it could be a bigger price than it should be. So I'm going to side with Hurricane Darwin.
Do you want to tell you a sad story?
Yeah.
So the very first race of this festival, on the Monday night, actually the night before, I was sat in the hotel having a bit of dinner, and I noticed that You Cannot Be Serious was 5-2 Ender's horse, the first Banks race, and I thought he won't start 5-2, so I backed him, went off at 4-5, and Ender's other horse beat him. That's a sad story, isn't it?
Well, it's reasonably sad, but in the current climate it wouldn't be the saddest story I've ever heard.
All right,
yeah,
that's nice. Keels, your views?
4 mile 2 furlongs on Thursday and 3 mile 1 furlongs on Saturday. I mean, that's a hell of an ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and he looked knackered as well, Josie's Orders. So you got to take him on. I can't believe it, but I'm going to put up Ballycasey, who's like one of the horses that I don't think I've ever backed in my life, because I just think he's always been tripless throughout his entire life. But I mean, without Josie's Orders, this is a bad race, and if he's ever going to win one, this will be it.
And just to let viewers and listeners know that Mr. Paul Keeley spent roughly 6-7 hours on Thursday drinking what started off to be Guinness, then turned into wine, then turned into champagne, with none other than Mr. Rich Ritchie, who owns Ballycasey. So the fact that Paul Keeley is tipping Ballycasey, I think that's a decent sign.
Is it a decent sign?
He never discussed it.
Was it a pleasant Thursday?
It was a pleasant Thursday, but I'd really sort of hit the wall because I had 2 heavies on Tuesday and Wednesday. I wish I hadn't, because I'd like to have gone out for more, but I just couldn't face it.
I would love to see the size of the wall that stops Paul Keeley.
You were saying earlier, Keels, that Josie's Orders was getting knackered, looking knackered. And there'll be a lot of looking knackered in the 3:10 race. The Boyle Sports Handicap Chase Seamless Link there.
Yeah, I like
thank you. 3 miles, 7 furlongs, big old field. Keels, you first.
Last year's winner, Wounded Warrior, he sort of interests me. Now, he went to Sam Curling, and he hadn't done anything at all, but he came out last time, finished 5th. That was his best run since he's joined them, and he won the race last year. He's obviously been prepared for it again. I think he'll go well. Be interesting to see what happens to Don Slowly at the top. Who has his first? Who has a run for Phil Kirby?
Blinkered first time.
Blinkered first time. Yeah, that'll wake him up.
That's hard to believe, isn't it, that he's blinkered for the first time? Like, you think he's a horse? You think he's a horse that would have got blinkers when he was 2?
Yeah.
Blinkers were made for Don Polly.
God, yeah, unbelievable.
Do you fancy Don Polly?
No, I'm kind of sick here, because there's 2 horses that I fancied on Saturday, and there's a 3 mile handicap chase later on the card, and there's this race, and I was just praying to be separated, but they're in the same race. They are Manila Awards and Say Jersey, and Manila Awards, I think, has a big handicap in him, and I think he needs a break between his races, and he's just not a Grade 1 horse. I thought like he had every chance of winning the novice chase at the November meeting at Cheltenham and just wasn't good enough. He's been kept fresh for this. He's got a big chance, but I think Say Jersey is potentially one of the best handicapped chasers in training when he puts it all together. I really fancy him for the Irish National. Of course, he jumped the first 4 fences brilliantly and then fell at the 5th. I think he's got a serious engine. If he's none the worse for that spill in the Irish National, I think off a mark of 140 with Daryl Jacob aboard, I think he's going to be very hard to beat, Say Jersey.
Super. Say Jersey then for DJ in the 310, the Ball Sports Handicap Chase. A 350 is the first of our Grade 1s here at Punchestown on Saturday. The Irish Stallion Farms EBF Annie Power Mares Champion Hurdle. And Keels, this looks quite straightforward.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, it looked straightforward at Cheltenham as well until she went over. But Benny did. She's around 4-1 on, and she deserves to be. She might not have had as much left as everyone thought when she came down, but she was still going to win. And Roxana was gone to run Applesjade, and if the cap fits closer at Aintree. So I mean, it's massively better form. The only danger in the race really is probably Stormy Island, but she'd have only been 3rd at Cheltenham. So as long as she gets around, she has to win.
Oh, like there's no, you know me, I can talk forever, but there's no point. Benny the Do will win this easily.
Nothing more to add?
No, nothing, no.
Oh, okay. Well, that then brings us to an abrupt end in this part 1 of our postcast. We're back after the break with more Grade 1 fare to preview.
What's my horse's handicap? The fact that you're backing him? Everyone loves a newbie. That's why Paddy Power Games are giving all new customers 60 free spins on daily jackpot games. New Paddy Power Games customers only, 1 per customer. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to Punchestown, previewing the 5th and final day of the festival with myself, Lee Mottershead. We've got Paul Keeley and David Jennings, and we're now going to look ahead to the second Grade 1 on the card, the AES Champion 4-year-old hurdle, in which Fusil Raffles gets his chance to shine in Grade 1 company, having missed Cheltenham and Aintree. 5 horses against him, headed by Fakir Dudery and last week's Ferry House Grade 2 winner, French Maid. David Jennings.
I think this is pretty straightforward. I think Fusil Raffles will win. I was very impressed with him at Kempton. Beat the judge by 9 lengths. Praceps ran so well at Cheltenham, was back in 3rd. Thought he looked a superstar that day. It's hard to know. I don't think they're a vintage crop of juvenile hurdlers. Obviously, Sir Eric was top of the tree. He's no longer with us. Cur Sublime was beaten by French Maid at Fairy House. French Maid is pretty slow. He dug it out, but I don't think he's any great shakes, to be honest with you. Fakir Didare obviously brings the Supreme form in. Was it a good Supreme? Probably was. Classical Dream was very good here the other day. But Fusil Raffles, to me, it's only one piece of form, so it's hard to be definite about it. But I thought he looked exceptional at Kempton, and I'm actually surprised he's not a little bit shorter. I'm interested to hear what Paul fancies.
What do you fancy, Paul?
Not that.
Hey.
Why?
Yeah, it looked great, but it wasn't a great race, you know. Beat the Judge is not very good. And it was all about speed, and yeah, it looked really good. I mean, this is a sharp enough track that'll suit. But suffered a cut leg, didn't make Cheltenham, wasn't ready in time for Aintree, right? So it hasn't been all plain sailing. And I just think Fakir Didare's got better form, simple as that. Supreme 4th was good, the Aintree run was really good, and he'll find it hard to travel on the bridle behind this one and go past him, that's for sure.
Ground must be a worry though. Ground must be a worry.
I certainly wouldn't rule out French Maid either, who beat Gardens of Babylon last time at Fair Hills. I like Gardens of Babylon, I can't wait for him to step up and trip. But, I think they're 2 solid rivals. I mean, I'm more a layer of Fusil Raffles than the backer of anything else, but I think it's too short.
Major difference of opinion between the 2 star tipsters there on the Champion 4-year-old hurdle. Interesting line, speaking to Nicky Henderson earlier on, who was saying that he came off the stands at Kempton thinking, I've got a Triumph hurdle horse here, and at that stage Pentland Hills hadn't even run over hurdles. Isn't that amazing?
I wish he never ran over hurdles, because Cur Sublime would have won the Triumph hurdle and I was on a 40-1.
Were you really?
Yeah.
God blimey. 5 o'clock is the Palmerston House Pat Taff Handicap Chase, which features as the likely favourite the horse who finished 5th in the Irish National, Bello Mome, acting last for Harry Fry at the top of the stable. Bit of a disappointing turnout, isn't it? 11 runners for this.
Yeah, I just wish one of the others from the other races, say Jersey or Manila Awards, ran in this race. Unfortunately, they don't, but that looks to have paved the way clear for Bello Mome, who I'd say the Irish Grand National was 3 miles and 5 furlongs. I'd say he got close to 4 miles of distance he travelled around the outside. I've no idea why he was kept so wide. Maybe he's got issues, but like, he was beaten into 5th. He was definitely value for finishing at least 10 lengths closer to the winner. Yeah, it was an extraordinary performance. He did jump slightly to his left on a couple of occasions, but I thought it was an extraordinary performance. He's had issues, but he's always looked like a well handicapped horse, and going into this week I thought wherever he pitched up he'd be hard to beat, and he pitches up here, so I'd imagine he'd be hard to beat.
Okay, good case then for Bella and Monekills?
Yeah, I think Acting Lass, if he's fit, I think he's a different class altogether and will win. Simple as that. He just looked a really good novice last season. He was a commanding winner of a race at Ascot, and next time he ran at Kempton in what was the old race in Post Chase, and he was sent off favourite for that off a mark of 149, and don't know what happened. He finished 9th. We haven't seen him since. I'm assuming whatever happened to him there is the reason for his absence. But, Harry Fly reminded us how good he was by getting, Harry to win a Grade 1 at the age of 11 on Thursday. And he's not bringing this horse over from a 434-day break just for the run. And, he's been dropped £5 for his absence, so he's now only £1 higher than at Ascot. And I thought he had the potential back then to be a near 160 horse, and he's running off 144. So if he's fit and well, he does go well fresh, I think he'll win.
Okay, so again, strong differences of opinion there. In the Pat Taff, the next race is the big handicap hurdle of this festival, the Ballymore handicap hurdle, 100 grander over 2.5 miles. Some proper celebrity names this one. Jeski, former champion hurdle winner, Ivanovic Gorbachev, former triumph winner who came back to form. And DJ, which one are you looking for?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
No, I just think it's quite extraordinary what Paul Townend rides in this race. I think Willie has, let me see, 1, 2, 8. Okay, good maths. Willie has 8. Willie has 8 in the race, and if you ask me which one was Paul pick, I would have had 8 and Bob 7th or 8th.
Would you read honestly?
I would, yeah. I swear to God, yeah. I can't believe it. That's why I looked at the phone, thought it was a mistake. Looked at your iPad. It's obviously not a mistake. I'm shocked. And
can you see a reason why then?
No, I can't. I don't think he's good enough. No.
Right. Which one is?
The two I like. I have no idea what happened, Mr. Adjudicator at Fairyhouse. I thought he was my strongest fancy of the Fairyhouse Easter Festival. Ruby pulled him up after 3 hurdles. I watched him and I thought everything was going fine. They were going quick on front, jumped fine, and he reported to the stewards that he was reluctant, that the horse was reluctant, which is obviously a huge concern. Willie Mullins really fancies him. Patrick rides here. I think he's a better horse than a 149 rated horse. You're obviously taking your life into your own hands backing a horse that was reluctant to race last time, but I do think he's worth another chance. And the other one I like is Golden Spear for Tony Martin and Owen O'Connell claiming 5, taken out of the race on Tuesday because he had top weight. He's only a small horse. This time with O'Connell's claim, he's only going to be carrying 10 stone 6. That'll suit. He'll creep into contention. He'll love a race like this, big field. I think he'll finish in the first 4. So my 2 against the field are Mr. Adjudicator and Golden Spear.
Are you with one of those 2 or one of the other 20?
No, I mean it's that hard, isn't it? But I love the conditions of Irish races. Irish handicaps is brilliant, isn't it? Basically, if you were to read the conditions of that, it said the penalties, whatever the handicapper feels like. Which Ivanovic Gorbachev has finally won another race the other day, and the handicap was giving him £9, which is a fair chunk for that race, wasn't it? Beating Tudor City, it was a good win, and ground drying out was going to suit him a lot better, and he was still rated a fair bit higher after his Triumph Hurdle win. So if he's on the way back, he'll be a player. Lac Kivu of Mullins gave £7 to Whiskey Sour, who's rated 144 and has got a mark of 145 for doing so. That's interesting, but it's only I know the winner made a right howler. So that'd be half interesting too, but there was a first run off a long break. It's only 13 days ago. I'm going to end up throwing a couple of quid at the old favourite round here, Woodland Dopper, who's running over hurdles. He's won a couple of chases at this festival, isn't he? 2016, 2017, and I think he went off. He was midfield last year, but off a mark of nearly 150 or whatever in the Guinness handicap chase. So I'll take a chance on that. Can
I tell you a funny story about Lac Kivu? When Lac Kivu won his maiden hurdle here, it was kind of summer. I think it was the May meeting here a couple of years ago. There was about 5 or 6 of us in the office, and Lac Kivu were on, and I turned around and I said to everybody, that's the next Hurricane Fly.
Did you really?
I swear to God. It's almost as bad as when Jonathan Mullen, our former editor, was in the office one day that Frankel won the St James's Palace Stakes.
Yeah.
And he turned around to everybody and he said, that horse will never win another race. There you go.
Well,
If you're listening or watching Johnny.
He wasn't quite right. No.
No. I think he won 13 after that, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's good that we can all laugh at our own mistakes, isn't
Yes.
it? I laugh frequently.
I don't think Lakivu is the next Hurricane Fly, but he could be well handicapped.
Okay, cool. And the final race that we're going to look at, because if you forgive us, we're going to skip the charity race, as marvellous a contest as it is for great cause, is the K Club Hotel and Resort Pro-Am Irish National Hunt Flat Race. Keels, if you have a strong view on this, you're a fine man.
No, I haven't. I mean, it's these sort of bumpers are a guess up for me anyway. I mean, David would know a lot more about Irish point-to-point form if there's any of that, but there isn't an awful lot to go for at all.
Even with that strong view, you're still a fine man.
Thank you.
David Jennings.
I thought obviously the one that everybody will probably come down on and will be pretty short is Tactical Move for Willie and Patrick. Was second in a Monk's Grange point for Donegal Doyle, and I actually seen the race. It actually made a couple of errors and was beaten, I think, 4 lengths, but I didn't think that did the performance justice. Owned by the Gold Cup winning colours of, what's his name again? Album Photos owner.
Mr.
I can't remember.
Hang on.
Mellon.
Pat it out. Mrs. Donnelly.
Joe Donnelly. Sorry, Joe, if you're listening. In the colours of Joe Donnelly, Tactical Move, I'd say will be pretty short, and I'd say he'll probably win.
Okay, before we give you the boys' best bets for Punchestown Day 5, just quickly while we've got them both here, 2,000 guineas day at Newmarket, 1,000 guineas on Sunday. Keels, the 2 classics, or anything else you want to mention over the weekend?
Yeah, classics interesting. 10 Sovereigns has sort of resumed market position again. I really don't think he'll stay. I think he looked like a stayer, and I want him not to stay because I want to see him run against Calix in the Commonwealth Cup.
Well, that'd be a belt.
We'll throw Jash in there as well, and there'll be a right race, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? So I'm hoping he doesn't stay. All the gossip since I've been here is about Mad Moon. So many different people. One of them told me it's rated 1.5 stone better than Ortad, which that makes him Cedar Stars Frankel class. So obvious nonsense. I've written in the column tomorrow. It's like Chinese whispers. The further down the food chain you are, working nicely goes to best horse the trainer's ever had. And I think so. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. I've backed Advertise. He's only been beaten by Calix. He's only been beaten by Too Darn Hot. They're 2 proper horses. There is a slight stamina doubt with him as well. But he's rumoured to have strengthened up, etc. And Usheen Murphy said last year that he was strong at the end of that Dewhurst. He thought he was. Frankie Dettori, obviously Too Darn Hot's rider, Calix's rider. He's quite happy to resume his partnership with Advertise. 1,000 guineas, been fancying Iridessa for a while.
At last, we found something we agree on after a half an hour.
Yeah, fancied Iridessa for a while. She was a real commanding winner of that Phillies Mile. Badly needed to run on soft ground on a return. She'll improve for that. Typical O'Brien, might be Joseph, but typical O'Brien warm-up. I think she'll go well. I've also backed Star Terms in that race at a massive price, just because Hannah's already had 2 massive price winners of the Guineas in the last few years, and she actually got closer to winning her trial than the 2 Guineas winners he had. So I think she'll run well. I like Elector in the first at Newmarket for Queen's Horse, Sir Michael Stout. Don't worry about Joe Fannin riding at Rymore. Probably can't do 8-7. And I'll give half a chance to Major Jumbo in the Palace House Stakes.
Okay, excellent. DJ?
I've been fairly sweet on a horse in the 2,000 guineas for the last couple of weeks since it won the Craven. That's Scardu. But I literally can't find any kind of judge that fancies it, including Paul. Everybody seems to be kind of crabbing the form of the Craven. I thought it was a really good display. A horse held up off a slow pace. On its second start, to be so professional and to quicken up so much, I thought that was a hell of a performance. Both his wins have been at Newmarket. To me, I thought watching the Craven, I was watching the Guineas winner in Scardu, and I don't think it's a vintage renewal of the Guineas, so I fancy Scardu. My strongest fancy anywhere on Saturday runs in the 150, and it is Power of Darkness for Marcus Tregonning and Hayley Turner. I think this horse is better than a 91 rated animal. I thought it was too keen, too fresh last time on its reappearance. Hopefully with that out of the way, the cobwebs will be blown away. I think Power of Darkness will win that. I thought Equilateral was a big price, back down to 5 in the Palace House. I thought it showed bundles of speed last time in that really strongly won race over 6 at the Craven meeting, so I'll give that another chance each way. And I thought Defoe would win the Jockey Club Stakes again. And in the 1,000 guineas, I'm like Paul, big fan of Iridessa, who has been trained beautifully for the race, and speaking to Joseph a couple of times, he couldn't be happier. So Iridessa for me.
And before we finish then, the boys' best bets on Saturday at Punchestown. David Jennings.
Say Jersey in the 310 at Punchestown, but I also really like Power of Darkness in the 150 at Newmarket.
Brilliant. And Kills?
Best bet at Punchestown, without a doubt for me, is Acting Lass and 5 o'clock.
Excellent. OK, that then wraps up our previews. Thanks to Paul, thanks to David, and thanks to you all for either watching or listening. Hope you've had a successful Punchestown, and we shall rejoin you at some point in the near future. Bye-bye.
So, does an each-way bet mean that my horse has to do part of the race in reverse? Everyone loves a newbie. That's why Paddy Power Games are giving all new customers 60 free spins on daily jackpot games. New Paddy Power Games customers only. One per customer. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.